I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakadash, double honor to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace and blessings to you, Arkham that's pushing his truth. This is the brother Yakalam from the GMS Boston camp. And out of Walmart desire through the Spirit, this lesson is edifying as well as a faith builder. And I want to speak on an article that I saw on CNN. It says, Biden says many Americans are feeling down because of pandemic and urges people to seek help if they need it. Now, the scripture tells you how under this current rulership, and matter of fact, I'm going to get right to it, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And the wicked, they're in power right now. They're in rulership. Whether you're in, because a lot of people always say, oh, I'll just leave Babylon and go back to my country. It doesn't matter where you are, because this devil's blessing, as according to the book of Job, he was given the fatness of the earth. And just like Job says, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And who's the wicked once again? Which is you so-called white people that stem back to the nation of Edom. Your biblical Edomites. And with that being said, look at the current state of everything that's going on. People are in a depressing state. Like, what in a state of mourning? Because as the precept says, matter of fact, before I get that precept, let me just say this, going back to the point I was making, because with us coming into the truth of knowing who our enemy is, it's reality that we're still in their hands. We're still in the land of our captivity where we've been brought, especially us Archaeum that are here in Babylon, knowing that this place is going to be destroyed. We don't look forward to nothing. The scripture goes into how the mirth is gone, how the windows are going to be darkened. As a matter of fact, I got those precepts in. Getting into it because depression is only going to get worse, and it's at the control of these devils. Why are people depressed? The cost of living is going up, but people's wages ain't going up. You want people, I did it in an article a while back where they said, this government wants people to trust them with this jump shot after they done took their small businesses, caused them to lose their jobs, had them picking between, when they were waiting on that little 600 stimulus or whatever it was, they had them waiting on that, but having them choose between rent and food. But now it's getting worse. Even with them opening up back the jobs, once again, man, the cost of living is up, and depression is only going to get worse. And it's the 2 Ezra 8:50. For many great misery shall be done to them that in the later time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Now let's look up what that word miseries means. The word misery is a state or feeling of great distress or discomfort of mind or body, and that's a form of depression. It says it: unhappiness, hardship, suffering, affliction, misfortune, difficulty, problems. Those are things that the average people, what more us in the truth? But see, we have a remedy. We know the outcome of things. We just pray out around this other, we're part of that number that's gonna receive that mercy, because we know a new kingdom's coming, a new rulership's coming. We know rest is coming. There's not going to be no depression. Only people that's going to be catching hell is E. But there's also a reminder to what I brought out in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, and this is what we're waiting for Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it. That followeth, basically. So I lock you for the stuttering. And it says the people rejoice. So there's going to be rejoicing in our kingdom, but not here. Why? Because when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, and the wicked bear rule, and they're in rulership right now. And this is why people, they're in such a mourning state. Now, going back into, just to read just one thing out this article, you can find it on CNN. It says, President Joe Biden said Thursday a lot of Americans are feeling down because of the pandemic and anxious about the future, particularly heading into the holiday season, and urged those struggling with mental health issues to seek help if they need it. And those that are still caught up in the world, they're going to feel it more, because now you got that whole Christmas spirit. Now you got that whole Thanksgiving spirit when the cost of everything is going up, especially food. So how you going to get your food Turkeys ain't every. Listen, man, this is shit. Adarantha's this is the last Christmas that passes through this place. But yet you're gonna have people going to debt, people stressing over giving their gifts, celebrating these pagan holidays. But it also goes to show you when something out it says they're anxious about the future because, the future's dim here. I brought up Proverbs 29:2 to go with the people feeling down and why. But Ecclesiastes 12:3 tells you, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinding cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Why? Because this place is dim, even with the jobs, even with the stuff being opened up, even though you have even though you got this double line about the numbers saying that there's so many jobs available, it doesn't even matter. Nobody wants to go back to work because they've already been scared into thinking that there's a pandemic going on. They already know that eventually, in order just to keep a job, you're gonna have to take that jump shot. And there ain't no talk of a stimulus in sight. And if there is a talk of a stimulus, best believe you're gonna have that jump shot. So the people know the place is looking dark. It's never going back to normal, and it never was normal. This place was weird, and there's gonna be a new weird. And it says, and the door should be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. So even when you think about it, like, people know another lockdown is coming. It's just a matter of time. Like, this was just, especially here in Babylon, that was just a test run. But once again, look how it turned out. You had people really, I always bring it up in Michigan. You had those people in Detroit, Michigan, before the Capitol 6 riot, trying to kidnap the governor and storming. But this way, it's going to be worse. How come you think the National Guard is being called in? Because they know that they're going to substitute. And then eventually, because the National Guard is still citizens of the U.S., when they ain't going to want to do these things to their people, then the UN's going to roll in. There's already videos of UN trucks posting up at different cities and stuff, and they don't have any obligation here to Babylon. But it's just showing you with that one paragraph how people know that something's about to happen. They don't see an end in sight. See, but we do. Why? Because the scripture tells you, that and to mention one last thing, that these devils put people in this state. The wicked that's in power is the cause of this, and they have been pushing things will go back to normal once everyone is juiced. Why do you think they're getting ready for the children? Biden's getting ready to call in the National Guard to deal with the short supplies when people could see with their own eyes all the cargo ships that are out at the ocean that they won't send in. But once again, we know what's to come. And also that this place, Jeremiah 51:9, because it says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let her go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up into the skies. And with that forsaken her being, and even when you line that up with Micah, I believe it's 2:10, depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it will destroy you. This place is already slated for destruction. It's going to be destroyed by those ICBM missiles, but there's going to be plagues and famines that hit this place. Talks about how homes and houses are going to be destroyed, and neighborhoods and cities are going to be destroyed in 2 Ezra 15, even in 16. But that is the state of this place. It's there is no going back. It's going down. And so depression is like I said, depression is only going to get worse, to where people are going to be suicidal. And then now when you look at the book of Ecclesiastes 7:7, because I was mentioning earlier how even we be down sometimes, but our hope is in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and a promise that he made. And it says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Once again, knowing who your oppressor is, knowing that you're still in his hands, knowing that you're cursed no matter what you do, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than a beginning. And it's better because we're at the end of this thing. We're seeing it through prophecy, some things I just mentioned. And I said it earlier, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So we're almost out of here. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. We're at the end of a mourning stage. Next comes a rejoicing stage when the righteousness is set up. And Adarantha's were those men. And it says, and the patience in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Why? Because shit, I said that in 2 Ezra 8:50. Well, the scripture said it. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the later time shall dwell in the world. because they have walked in great pride. So that scripture says right there. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So we understand that we have to be at this state. And we see the Lord lifting up the curses. We just constantly pray and endure and make our calling and election sure that we're part of that number. And because I mentioned it, because it's going to be bad once they lock this place back down, and to where you can't come and go or move about without that jump shot. And that's going to be the new essential worker tag, because the first lockdown, that test run was, you couldn't go out to work unless you was an essential worker. Now, so you ain't got that jump shot, you can't go about. And they got mandates and laws signed in where you can't travel on federal roads or do certain things. And matter of fact, an example being like that movie Songbird, to where they had to check into an app to make sure they wasn't sick, and if they was out and about, who was out there? It wasn't your local law enforcement. It was the military out there checking bands. 2 Ezra 16-27. It's going to get so bad. It says, so that one man showed desire to see another and to hear his voice. And when you read the chapter before, 2 Ezra 15, it tells you about sedition, tells you about those things. They were spoiling each other's homes, maybe because of lack of bread. Then when you get into chapter 16, it goes more into it. And it says that so that one man showed desire to see another and to hear his voice, because things are going to be that bad. Especially if you're a pilgrim, where I'm sitting, you see the bricks. It's down with an industrial. It's not too far from what they call Methadone Mile. But can you imagine all this place being spoiled? It reminds you like the video game, The Last of Us. You going through neighborhoods just wanting to hear another's voice or to see somebody else, but then you don't. But then you don't know if that's gonna be your enemy or not. And this is 2 Peter 3:12, because I mentioned it earlier. Even though we're in a mourning state, we have hope. See, these people have hope in E. This is why when you read the book of Isaiah, we always bring it out 30 when you get to the point in 30:3 where it says, trusting in Pharaoh in Egypt is going to be to your shame and confusion, because a lot of people are going to realize they're going to come out of a better state, not realizing that this devil planned this all along. This devil wanted you to take that jump shot all along so that you can die. But see, us, man, we understand we have to go through this. This is 2 Peter 3:12. It says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Lord, wherein the heavens shall be on fire. Where the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And that's talking about the destruction of this kingdom, Babylon. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. All these brick buildings, all these skyscrapers, all these metals. You know how on 9/11 they claimed that jet fuel burned the building. Jet fuel wasn't hot enough, but this fire is going to be hot so that the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. And we understand the day of the Lord is what? Redemption for some, but destruction for others. That's the day when the Lord is going to judge this place via ICB and missiles. And it says, nevertheless, we according to his promise look for new heavens and a new earth, a new rulership, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Once again, I brought it out in Proverbs 29:22. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. So when you slide back down to 2 Peter, it says, nevertheless, 3:13, nevertheless, we according to his promise look for a new heaven and new earth, once again a new rulership, wherein dwelleth righteousness. This is what we're waiting for, because there's never going to be righteousness in this kingdom. Never. Everything that's being done is done wickedly. All the steps that are made were done wickedly. There was no righteous. There was no righteous judgments in doing these mandates or faking a pandemic. And this is the book of Psalms 34:17. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. This is why we're sighing and crying to make make our calling and election sure. Bear with me, Arkham, real quick. Bear with me while I get this precept. This is services office. This is the book of Ezekiel 9:4, and it says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that have been done in the midst thereof. And this is the state. This is what we do, especially when we do these epistles. When we go out on the highways and byways, And what is that mark? That mark of exemption. You know, the scripture, I brought it out, Micah 2:10, depart, for this is not your rest. You know, and I brought this out because I said, sighing and crying. And by making your calling and election sure, I had put the two precepts together, but I wanted to bring that out to show you. And going back into it, it says, Psalms 34:17, the righteous cry and the Lord heareth. Even when you go to the book of Ecclesiastes 2:10, what does it say? Have any called upon the name of the Lord? And has been forsaken. As a matter of fact, I'm getting it right now. That's why I paused on him. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 2:10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever call and whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And calling on that name, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Not Jesus, but showing you once again, going into Psalms 34 and 17, the righteous cry and the Lord heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles, because troubles are coming. I brought it out in the beginning of the chapter with 2nd Ezra. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. That's a depressing state. That's a mourning state, and saveth such as be of one contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. Because how are you going to understand righteousness if you never understood wickedness? Well, how are you going to understand being in a happy state if you never been in a sad state? Or being in a positive state if you never been in a negative, and so on. This is why the Lord in the book of Matthew 5:3 says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Because what? We're at the bottom right now. You so-called Negroes, Latins, and Native Americans, the elective you are, and that remnant, that 1/3, we're at the bottom right now. And even those that are going to be born through the loins of the elect that's going to come into the kingdom, they're going to be in a better spirit. Because here, listen, man, we're poor. That's why the scripture said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they should be comforted. So the Lord is going to comfort his people. And the scripture tells you that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end it with this, Revelation 21:3, because I said that, blessed are they that mourn, for they should be comforted. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Lord is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Lord himself shall be with them and be their power. And with that, it says, and the Lord shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Us being here under this rulership, us being in captivity, feeling those curses, now things are going to be flipped. That's why the scripture said, what I brought out in the book of Ecclesiastes 7:8, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. So we're at the ending of this morning stage, but we're at the beginning when the Lord is going to make it known to the world who his people are. And he's going to be our power, and we're going to be his people. And it says, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And this is why we yearn and we look forward to a new heaven and the earth, because we know these things are true. Thus saith the Lord. So I hope this lesson was edifying as well as a faith builder. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace and blessings to you, Arkim, that's pushing this truth. Till next time, Shalom.